Electric vehicles have been around for quite a long time now. Many countries have already adapted well to EVs, while others are still struggling. Back in the days, there were not many choices, not many manufacturers. But in current times, almost all OEMs are contributing in producing electric vehicles. The tech is racing too fast and modifications are coming out not on yearly or monthly basis, but in many cases on daily basis. Governments around the world have set zero emission targets. They announce grants for manufacturers, logistic providers, the charging stations, even grants for drivers, giving cashbacks on new vehicles. 35 to 40% covering the cost of new vehicle on exchanging your old vehicle. The whole loop is incentivized. The manufacturer, the infrastructure provider, the driver, the consumer, who is left? Everyone in the loop is getting incentive. Everyone in the loop is getting help and assistance to adapt this lifestyle, to help the government reach their zero emission targets. And a zero emission atmosphere for who? For you and your future generations. So your kids breathe cleaner air. You might wonder, when the governments are putting so much effort, why is the progress so slow? What are the reasons? Why people are not adapting it in the pace the government wants them to? Why they are still confused? Why can't they take this decision? Well, there is something troubling them, and there is something which we are missing. If you can talk to them regarding many social issues, if you can give public messages on different issues, why can't you speak to them on such a genuine topic which affects their lives and their future? You must talk to them. It's more about the mindset. It's more about the ability, not the capability. We must accept that the incentives are not reaching down the line where we want. Honestly, they are not. If you see the facts and figures, most of the grant remains unutilized. Or if you see the list of people who have utilized the grants, you will see 3 to 4 names of top of the line manufacturers. Why common people are not being part of this program? If governments had to give this grant to 2 or 3 manufacturers, high-end manufacturers, I think the governments could have done this thing in a better way themselves on a national level. But what could they do? They had targets. Can you imagine, to give grants? But they were going underutilized for years. If the grant is like $5 billion, only $3 billion was being utilized that year. So unwantedly, you went into a trap of monopoly. I'm not gonna name the manufacturers. You can go back to ZWIP program or the NEVI program, go on their website and see who has utilized 70 to 80% of the funds. You will find only few players. These companies have established themselves on the grants and the incentives which governments intended to pass on to common people, just because the common man was not convinced for this change, and there was no one who would go up to him, speak to him, counsel him to adapt this lifestyle, to adapt this change. See, there are reasons for this delay and slow progress. Some of the reasons we will discuss in today's podcast. This is Naveed with you on Early Asteroid platform. First of all, I would like to thank Early Asteroid team for having me here, for giving me the opportunity to discuss the industry and the mindset of the consumer. How can we make this transformation easier for everyone? It's not impossible. You just need to put some extra effort. Here I will share with you firstly my surveys and my studies on consumers' behavior. What does the consumer perceive? The end user is your target audience. If he's not convinced, you're not going to land anywhere, my friend. No matter what you do, no matter how much grants you give, no matter how much infrastructure you build, you will always need the end user to utilize these things. You don't want these grants, these incentives to go unutilized. And this is what is happening right now. So it is better to counsel and negotiate with the end user. Let me tell you some of his concerns through my studies. The first thing he questions, do I need an EV? Why do I need this electric vehicle when I have a regular vehicle and there is plenty of infrastructure? There are plenty of gas stations around me supporting my vehicle. Well, this was his basic question in the start if you go back like 5 to 10 years. And at that time, there were not much OEMs who were manufacturing the electric vehicles like prestigious famous OEMs. They were not doing that. The electric vehicles were made by unknown manufacturers. The consumer never wanted to take risk. He was like, it's a new technology, maybe it will work or maybe it won't. Why should I bother myself of it? Well, the end user and consumer is right in many things. However, there are many things he's wrong. But in things which he is perceiving wrongly are things which you haven't explained him properly. He lacks information and knowledge, and that is the reason for him being wrong. As a government of people and regulatory bodies, it is your duty to explain in detail to the consumer that what are the benefits of adapting an electric vehicle. You are just making the vehicles, you are just making the infrastructure, you are offering grants which are not going to them, but you are not explaining to the end user that his contribution is what matters. It is his contribution which are going to take this system ahead. You are giving grants, you are making station on a station, but they are all ghost stations because end of the day, if the consumer is not convinced, who is going to use those stations? So I personally believe that you have to raise this issue as other social issues. You should create helplines. You should offer counseling at convention centers, showrooms where people come up to buy their vehicle. You need to engage them in a positive debate, convince them how electric vehicle is going to change their lifestyle in a more greener and more natural environment. You actually need to change the mindset. Everything starts from your mind. Even those which you think are straight from your heart are visualized through your mind. The first hurdle actually is the mindset. The fear of change, the question, why should I change when I am fully satisfied? What will my change benefit when many don't even buy this idea? Why should I take these risks? Many things come in your mind whenever you have to think about something you think is not a necessity. Well, I must admit, sometimes this is a right feeling. I won't judge your instincts. However, there can be times you might be wrong. Nothing wrong in that, mate. You must see the broader picture. You must move from, do I need an EV to, why shouldn't I have an electric vehicle? Mate, the carbon emissions are real. It's not a myth. They are the real parasites eating the foundation of our society and atmosphere. You see them, you feel them, but you think that maybe this is not the reason. You see them, you feel them. They are in front of you. But then you don't have time to think over that why is all this happening? Am I also contributing in this? Well, yes, you are. Can I make the change by changing myself? Well, again, yes, you can. You should. You better. Now is the time. What is stopping you when your government is offering you a helping hand? They are giving you grants. They are waiving the tax on you. What is actually stopping you when the government is billions of dollars, pounds, whatever currency you live in, on easy accessible infrastructure just to make you feel comfortable. They are reducing their income by not putting any tax on your purchase. Also, they are giving you money from their own earnings because you said that you don't have money to change your existing car or truck. They told you to bring in your old trucks and vehicles and use this money to buy a new electric truck or vehicle. What else you expect from them? Please tell, because the governments are seeking more reasons to give you more grants to adapt to this change, to adapt to zero emission lifestyle. So if you have any other reasons or hurdles, you speak to them, and I'm telling you, they will fix that for you also. Please do not destroy the atmosphere you will leave for your kids. Why so rigid on it? Why not be adaptive? Why not be the change to others, to yourself? We need to change the mindset. My fellow listeners, you need to change. You need counseling on it. The behavior needs to be changed. Now to the governments, I must say you are doing a lot, but still it is not enough. Governments must also put effort in convincing the consumer through public messages, interactions, counseling if required. You must help the end user, not just financially, but also mentally to adapt. Only then it's gonna be a sustainable transformation. When we talk about mindset, we should also dig in the issues, the fears in the mind. What are the troubles? Well, to be honest, I don't know all fears in every mind, but we have surveyed and researched few. The top of the list one is range anxiety. Yes, that is the most common question and the fear in the mind of a person who is going to convert to an electric vehicle. The first thing he will ask you, how long the battery can take me? What if I'm stuck in the middle of the road? What I'm gonna do? Where is going to be the next charger? Is it going to be open when I reach there? What if I have some issue there? What if there is some hardware problems? I will be stuck in the middle of the road. Well, my friends. Range anxiety is real. This is the biggest negative contributor in the mind of the end user who wants to change to electric vehicle but does not like taking risk. Range anxiety is not a myth, it is real. You can have range anxiety in a fossil fuel car also. If you are low on tank, if you are not good on your tires, you will have a range anxiety, and it is actually a very terrible thing. I saw Secretary Jennifer, the Secretary of Energy of the United States of America, talking about this last week. I do appreciate her on looking into these micro fabric of end users' mental health. This is really commendable. She was talking about the charging stations, and she was discussing the range anxiety related to the charging stations. That will I be able to reach the next charging station? What if I miss one charging station? Will I be getting another charging station on the highway? Well, yes, you will be. But there is something addition to the charging station in this. Range anxiety can also be handled by offering free roadside assistance insurance. When the government is spending so much on grants on infrastructure, they should also provide this facility to the end user who is adapting now, who is converting now for at least 1 year. For 1 year, when they buy an electric vehicle, they should be getting free roadside assistance insurance paid by the government. So he is relaxed and he don't fear the range anxiety. These are small happy gifts to motivate the end user. A tap on the shoulder that we are with you. When a guy is getting like 8 to 9,000 USD waived off as tax on an electric vehicle, which is like you can say 10%, 15% of the total cost of the vehicle, why not add this small incentive which is going to relax his mind also? It will be your way to say that, listen, we are not going to leave you stranded on the road, or you're not gonna pay heavy cost of transporting your vehicle if God forbid something happens. I think this will carve a very positive impact on the range anxiety, which is, as I told you, is a natural normal thing and it happens. Now, after speaking on the mindset behavior changes to the range anxiety, let's move on to another problem faced by the end user who is going to convert to an electric vehicle, and that is tech compatibility.